Kunja Bihari Jai. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Banachariya Jamuna Tira Banachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya. जय ओम पाठ परमहंस परिव्राज श्रीमद् भागवतम भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. इस्कॉन फाउंडर श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय. नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा माधव गोकुल श्याम कुंद राधाकुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. श्री वृंदावन श्री धाम की जय. नवद्वीप मायापुर की जय. श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी धाम की जय. गंगा माही जमुना माई की जय. तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय. सांग वीर भक्तवृंद की जय. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. श्री जीव गोस्वामी पद की जय. श्री जगदीश पंडित की जय. Thy Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. This morning we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 10, entitled The Pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. Text 24 to 27. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Navayveda Mahabhaga. Navayveda Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vashangata. Bhavan Kama Vashangata. Tejonubhavan Sitaya. Tejonubhavam Sitaya. Yena Nito Dasamimam. Yena Nito Dasamimam. Navayveda Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vashangata. Tejonubhavam Sitaya. Yena Nito Dasamimam. Navayveda Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vashangata. Tejonubhavam Sitaya. Yena Nityo Dasamimam. Vedaya Mahabhaga. Bhavan Kama Vashangata. Tejonubhavam Sitaya. Yena Nityo Dasamimam. Mataji? Na, not. Vai, indeed, Veda did know, Mahabhaga, O greatly fortunate one, Bhavan, yourself, Kama Vasham, influenced by lusty desires, Gataha, having become, Teja, by influence, Anubhavam, as a result of such influence, Sitayaha, of Mother Sita, Jena, by which, Nitaha, brought into, Dasham, condition, Imam, like this, destruction. Translation, O fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramchandra. Please repeat, O greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramchandra. We'll read from text 24. Text 24. Ramchandra's just pierced Ravan in the heart and fall down dead. Text 24. Therefore all the women whose husbands had fallen in the battlefield, headed by Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, came out of Lanka, continuously crying. They approached the dead bodies of Ravana and the other Rakshasas. Text 25. Striking their breasts in affliction because their husband had been killed by the arrows of Lakshman, the women embraced their respective husbands and cried piteously in voices appealing to everyone. Text 26. O my Lord, O Master, you epitomize trouble for others, and therefore you were called Ravana. But now that you have been defeated, we are also defeated, for without you, the state of Lanka has been conquered by the enemy. To whom will it go for shelter? There's a small purport here. Ravana's wife, Mandodari, and the other wives knew very well how cruel a person Ravana was. The very word Ravana means one who causes crying for others. Ravana continuously caused trouble for others, but when his sinful activities culminated in giving true trouble to Sita Devi, he was killed by Lord Ramchandra. Text 27. O greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramchandra. I don't know why she's calling him a greatly fortunate one. It means because he was because he was Lankeshwara, because he was a big controller, or because he'd been killed by Lord Ramchandra. Also fortunate, but it's not. You wouldn't expect this, that the wife holding the dead body of her husband was a great fortunate one. Purport. Not only was Mother Sita powerful, But any woman who follows in the footsteps of Mother Sita can also become similarly powerful. There are many instances of this in the history of Vedic literature. Whenever we find a description of an ideal chaste woman, women, Mother Sita is among them. Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, was also very chaste. Similarly, Drupadi was one of 5 exalted chaste women. A man must follow great personalities like Brahma and Narada. A woman must follow the path of such ideal women as Sita, Mandodari and Drupadi. By staying chaste and faithful to her husband, a woman enriches herself with supernatural power. It is a moral principle that one should not be influenced by lusty desires for another's wife. Matra paradareshu. An intelligent person must look upon another's wife as being like his mother. This is a moral injunction from Chanakya, Shloka 10. Matrat paradhareshu paradravedareshu lastravat atmavat sarvabhuteshu ya pasyati sapanditah. One who considers another's wife as his mother, another's possessions as a lump of dirt, and treats all living beings as he would himself, is considered very learned. Thus Ravana was condemned not only by Lord Ramchandra, but even by his own wife, Mandodari. Because she was a chaste woman, she knew the power of another chaste woman, especially such a wife as Mother Sita Devi. And the purport. Om Jnanantanandasya Jnanantanan Sakhaya Chakshurumichamna Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutare Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shandavari Vasarisadharini. Okay, so the battle is finished. Ravana's fallen dead, killed by Lord Ramchandra. And now all the Rakshasas are unhappy. And as Prabhu mentions elsewhere, that all this trouble, all this great killing and great wars was caused by Sita, woman. Because Sita Devi wanted to go to the forest with Ram. He didn't want to take her because she's a princess. He was going to live in the forest. But she insisted, so he took her. But she is considered one of the most chaste ladies. Of course she is, we know she is the goddess of fortune personified, Lord's internal energy. So if you make an offense to the internal energy, then you're finished. Aparad. So then Lord Ramchandra personally killed him. So that's also good. That is fortunate to be killed. But she says, because you come under the influence of lusty desires, you can understand the influence of Mother Sita. So that's the difficulty in the material world. Everyone is influenced by lusty desires. Desire to be the center, to be recognized among everyone else. That is a common desire for all the conditioned souls, because our real identity, our real ego, as the eternal servant of Krishna, has been covered by avidya. Krishna covers it. The first covering, the false ego, covering the living entity. So then the natural inclination for the living entity and the conditional state because it's uncomfortable for the soul. It's very uncomfortable in the material world. We may not feel it very abruptly because we're born in an uncomfortable position. So uncomfortable is normal. Suffering is normal. And if you're born in a suffering condition, then suffering is normal. So until one actually experiences the reality of the spiritual world, where there's no suffering, then one can appreciate one is suffering here. But until one has a higher taste or realization of that, then we think life is not so bad after all. That is a condition. And seeing there's no God, since that remembrance has been covered from us, then, why not we take that position? Why not? Someone's going to be on top. Why not me? So this is the endeavor for all the living entities. We're always trying to improve our condition because material energy is relentlessly giving us problems. So we're always endeavoring to improve our situation. So most of our activities, we're doing something so we can do something else. We're not doing actually what we want to do. We're doing it so we can achieve something else. But most of the time is spent doing the preparation, doing something so you can get the result for something, enjoy something else. If you analyze your life, it's like that. So most of the time we're actually living in the future, dreaming in the future that everything will be all right. So that's making our desires, and that's making our path in life. That makes us what we are. Of course, this is all coming from different samskars and different past karmas, but still, the main impetus is that because of forgetfulness of our real identity, we come to believe that we are the enjoyers of the material energy, this body and the senses and everything else we perceive. So that's the main thing. So that has to be replaced. That false identity as being the enjoyer of the material world has to be replaced. That we're not the enjoyers. We are actually being punished. But we're taking that punishment, some parts of the punishment we're taking as enjoyment. But actually it's all punishment, because you're not with Krishna, you're not in the spiritual world, you're getting old, you're getting sick and dying, you're not eternally blissful, eternally young, eternally ever increasing happiness. That's the real state of existence. So one has to give up this idea that the life, human life, is meant for enjoyment. I mean, the purpose of life is enjoyment, no doubt, but not in the material world. It's not a place of enjoyment, it's a place of suffering. Krishna says, right? Dukkhalam asashritam. It's a place of suffering. But the purpose of creation is enjoyment. Krishna expands, so his enjoyment will expand. Right? More associates, the more friends you have, the more happy, the more lovers you have, the more relations you have, bigger family, then you have more facility for enjoyment. So Krishna expands, is expanding to every one of us, so he can have a relationship with us. We can realize it. All these other living entities, which are the vast majority, all these plants and things, all those trees, bushes and grass. In fact, there's more plants probably in Mayapur than human beings on the planet. So we're not a very big number who have this opportunity of actually understanding what the problems is in life and the solution, because this is the opportunity that the human form of life offers, a way out. But when we become influenced by Maya, then we don't appreciate the spiritual influence, and therefore we don't appreciate the sadhus also, the saintly persons, right? We don't appreciate that the sadhus are actually the Lord's mercy personified, because the Lord doesn't give directly mercy generally. You see, he gives that to his devotees to distribute. Sometimes when he's appearing in the Prakat Lila, but that's very few and far between, then he give mercy directly. Otherwise he gives to his devotees. So the devotees are the mercy carriers of the Lord. So we want the favor of Sita Devi, Lakshmi. Energy of the Lord. We want her favor, not her disfavor, because we displease her, then there's no access to the Lord. And even the Lord becomes angry at that. So he's not angry at other things, ordinary material things. There's no point. But when you come into the contact with the devotees of the Lord, then one has to be very careful with how one associates with the devotees, because if you offend a devotee, it's a very don't give the proper respect to the devotee, understanding their position as the greatest people in the universe, the pure devotees of the Lord. Should give that. Then even this, what Srila Prabhupada is quoting Chanaka, that this is the consciousness of an intelligent person. Now, our definition of intelligence may be someone who's coming from IIT or someone who's really smart, clever. But no, this is the definition of a learned person. One who considers another's wife as his mother. Right? Nobody will exploit their mother. Right? Their mother's a shelter. Right? We wouldn't think of exploiting our own mother normally. Right? You never think like that, because your mother's been your shelter from your very childhood. She's actually your refuge. When people are leaving their bodies, and Ma, right? When the plane is crashing, and Mom, they call out, my shelter. So we love the mother because she affords us that protection. That love, Prabhupada said, is the closest thing to spiritual love. Right? The mother will go without so that the child can have. She's quite selfless. As selfless as we can get in the material world. So if you're thinking like that, then you're really going to appreciate and respect all the ladies, all the Mataji's. But if you forget that, if you forget that, the situation, the wife is a license for sense gratification, and husband is a license for sense gratification in the material world, because we're supposed to be serving Krishna. We're not supposed to be trying to get enjoyment in the material world. But it's a license because we need some enjoyment. But so then there's the license is called religion. So there's religious principles you can follow. And within the religious principles, there's spiritual principles. But generally, people are more concerned with the religious principles than the spiritual principles. They're more concerned with the license of enjoy the facility of the enjoyment that comes from the license, rather than the spiritual aspect of it. To assist each other, to protect one another's senses, that they don't fall down or go wild and go here and there, and to produce pure devotees that will deliver us back to Godhead. But if you forget this, if you forget the spiritual values, then you'll think that a woman, another man's wife, or any woman, as an object of enjoyment, like we view everything else. Right? Whatever we see, anything or anybody or any situation, the mind thinks, what can I get from that? Right? That's our normal thing. Accept and reject it. I like this, I don't like that. What can I get from that? What can that offer me? Will I benefit? And if it's yes, then I'll go towards it. And if it's no, then I'll go look somewhere else. But the principle is the same. We're the center, and everything is meant for our enjoyment. This is unfortunate condition of the souls in the material world. So these are very high moral principles given by Janaka. Prabhupada said he's a politician, he's a moralist, but the instructions are very nice instructions. We can you can think. And another's possessions as a lump of dirt. Huh? So if you see others' possessions as a lump of dirt, you're not going to become jealous or envious that they have this and I should have that. Or you wouldn't try to steal it from them. So then people would like you, obviously. The relationship would be better because they don't feel any threat from you. Right? We feel we don't make friends very easily, right? To strangers. Children we do. It's not a problem with children because there's no threat from children. We'll immediately love them, cuddle. But an adult we won't. There has to be some introduction, some connection. You have to be introduced. You pat their dog or say good morning, it's a lovely day today. And in England they always talk about the weather, that's the introduction. Or it's some other relation. Then when you get to know the person, then you can be more. There's a procedure. There's a procedure how to act, and people are supposed to follow that procedure that we know. There's different cultures how they do it, but the idea is, I like you because of what I get from you. You satisfy my senses. I like being with you. We're similar in nature, and you like that. And if you're not, then I will look somewhere else. So this is our consciousness. We're to be the center, but we're not the center. Krishna's the actual center. Krishna's the actual enjoyer, and we enjoy in relationship to his enjoyment. We are his enjoyment in essence. Krishna expands for his enjoyment. Right? God is one; he becomes many for pleasure. So we're part of that pleasure potency. I mean, we have also the actual pleasure potency, the Haladini Shakti, Samvit Haladini. We also have a part of that in us, but we're actually meant for Krishna's pleasure. What is the meaning of your existence? What is the meaning? You ask yourself the question: what is the purpose of my existence? There must be some reason you exist, right? Not just to grow old and die and try to be happy and make something and leave a carbon imprint in the material world. What's the point of that? No, there's a reason. So that reason is that we're meant to be giving Krishna pleasure. That's the very purpose of our existence. That's why we were created like that. If we're eternal, but somehow we have to have a beginning, right? So that's the purpose of our creation. We can't understand eternality, so we have to have a reference point. That but we don't think like that. We think everything's for my enjoy. We view everything with how can I enjoy that, isn't it? How can I benefit? Oh, every moment, practically every time you're doing something, going somewhere, seeing something, hearing something. Right? If it sounds good, it's a good feeling, then you'll be pulled by this way. Right? That's our experience. I like that. So looking for pleasure, and then if you then the third one, you would treat all other living beings as you would yourself. How would you like to be treated? Right, with respect, with dignity, with affection. Right? So if everyone was like that, what a wonderful world this would be. Actually, you grow old and get sick and die very happily. If everyone was like that, right? We know what we like. So if we just project that on other people, because everyone has the same nature, everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to love. Everyone wants to be happy. Nobody wants problems. So treat other people as you would yourself. So then that's that person who does that is considered learned. It's not a question of academic knowledge. According to Chanakya, he's a pandit. He's a great pandit. So this is a learned person. So we can measure. This is our measure, yardstick. How learned are we? And the opposite is how foolish are we? If we're not learned, then it means we're dumb, foolish. So according to how we view other people's property, we're attracted to it, or we want to enjoy it, then we're foolish. If we're not very nice to other people, like Ravan wasn't nice. He wasn't a very nice person, cruel person, as his name implies. He makes one who causes crying for others. That's his name. He had a name like that. One who causes crying for others, but he enjoys it. He enjoys it. I can make you cry because there's that feeling of power. That power there that you can make somebody suffer. Your happiness is in my hands. The great feeling of power, you see, because we want to be God after all. So the power of life and death is about the closest you can get to becoming God. And according to some humans, it's the greatest adrenaline, right? For that power, that's above sex pleasure, which is with the most entangling thing in the world, the most attractive thing in the world. But that power, with that power, you can. It's even a higher taste than actually the pleasure from that. The pleasure from that power, because you have the power of life and death over somebody. Not cruel, huh? Cruel. I'm getting happiness by having someone in fear that at any moment, and your life is in my hands. I'm enjoying someone's terrible suffering, terrible fear. Such a horrible, nasty person. Ramana was like that. At least 8 of his heads, 8 or 9 of his heads. And so he didn't have these qualities, so he wanted to enjoy Sita Devi. He wanted to enjoy whatever he senses went. But he picked the wrong person now. Although he had many kidnapped princesses there, he was doing okay. But when he picked the wrong girl, picked Sita Devi, the internal energy, and you don't fool around with Lord Ramchandra or the Lord's internal energy. You can't do that. So then he comes and takes her off out of the picture. Then take birth again in the material world and do something else. I don't know what his next destination was. So, and then this is the power of the ladies, talking about how the women become so powerful. There's the instance of the chaste lady who, by her chastity, she stopped the sun rising. Because chastity is very difficult, right? Chastity means if someone's unchaste, you want to enjoy it unrestrictedly. That's unchaste. But that's what we want, right? We want to enjoy everything we can. We think everything is my enjoyment. So everyone is actually unchaste in the material world. As soon as we look at something as an object of our enjoyment, that's unchaste. Because everything is meant for Krishna's pleasure. Of course, he doesn't take pleasure in the material energy, but it's our business to offer anything to Krishna, to use in the service of Krishna. So when we want to enjoy it ourselves, then we're unchaste to Krishna. Not very nice. That's why in the material world, because of this mentality. So that has to be given up. Then real ego is I am the eternal servant of Krishna. Everything is meant for Krishna's pleasure, not my pleasure. So then we engage everything in the Lord, claim to ourselves and everyone, everything else and everyone in the Lord's pleasure, and that's perfection. That's perfection in life. So if you can do that, you'll be satisfied, be happy, and then you'll wait to see what happens. How the Lord shows His mercy when we leave our body and get our next destination. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki. We thought to speak a little bit about today's disappearance of Jagdish Pandit and Srila Jiva Goswami. Jagadish was a resident of Mayapur. He was from Assam, but he moved here when his parents died, and he had a brother Hiranya, and there was he was a great devotee of the Lord, and he was a friend of Jagannath Mishra, and his wife Duki. She was a great friend. She used to cradle Nimai. She used to nurse Nimai also. So a very close relationship. And when Nimai was a baby, then he would always cry, and the only thing they found out was if you did kirtan, he would stop. So there's always kirtan going on. So one day he started crying, and they started kirtan. He didn't stop crying, and whatever they tried, he wouldn't stop crying. Then they asked, "What do you want? What is it?" He said, Jagadish has made some very nice offering, Vishnu Prasad today. It's a courtesy. They made a big feast for the deity, Vishnu. I want to eat that. And he's a child. How does he know that? Jagadish lives quite a long way away. And it's a courtesy. So, but he wouldn't stop crying, and so they thought that's how. So they went there and they told Jagadish, "Yeah, we just made a huge feast, for a courtesy feast for Vishnu." He said, "Nimai's asking for it." But they know it's a courtesy today. Can we give him rice? Jagadish, "Don't worry about that. Give it to him." And then Nimai stopped crying. And later he went to, I think Lord Nimai told him to go to Puri and preach in Puri. So he was he went to visit Puri. He came back. On his way back, he was feeling really separation from Jagannath. He got Jagannath's darshan, and he just felt so much love for Jagannath. And he was feeling like that. Coming back, he was crying. And Jagannath was seeing his extraordinary affection for him. Then Jagannath came in the dream and told him, "You should worship me. You can take my deity back and worship him." Some say that Jagannath said, "You can have this, the deity." The time was the Navakavalium, when they changed the body of Lord Jagannath. Some people say that Jagannath appeared in the dream of the king and told him, let him take the old body, don't put it in the samadhi, in the well. They put the old body in the well when they make a new wooden deity. Anyway, some say that, and they said to Jagadish, "Well, how am I going to carry that back to Bengal?" He said, "Don't worry, I'll become very light, like cork." So anyway, he bought this big deity, but it's not so big actually. It's not as big as the ones in Puri. And he had it on a stick over his shoulder, and he carried the deity. And the condition was, if you put me down, I'm not going to move. Wherever I touch, I'll stay there. So then he was on his way back to Mayapur. And then at Chagda, he had a couple of Brahmins helping him. So one they left with the deity, and the others, then they went to take their bath in Ganga. And when they came back, the deity was on the floor. It got so heavy I couldn't do anything. He just went down. So his desire to stay here. So that deity is still there in Chagdahat. He's got lotus. He hasn't got round eyes. He's got lotus eyes. Beautiful, different Jagannath. So he's worshipped there, and Lord Chaitanya went there a couple of times in North Islanda, because he's considered one of the Dwadasa Gopalas, Jagadish, and also one of the wives of the Brahmanas. He seems to have two identities. And one time Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda they stayed there, and then when they were leaving, he was crying that they should stay longer. He couldn't bear the separation, that they could leave. Then Gauranga had a deity made of himself, Gaur Gopal, Krishna Ganga, and said, I'll stay here in this form. So that deity is still there also. Chagda, on the way to Calcutta, you go to Chagda. So his disappearance today, and also Srila Jiva Goswami, very one of the illustrious Goswamis, Prabhupada said the greatest. He said our Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy is unparalleled. There's no philosophy like this. He said, and amongst the scholars, the Gaudiya Vaishnava, Jiva Goswami is also unparalleled. He wrote about 400,000 shlokas, verses, but he wrote many books, Sandarbhas and many important books. He organized from his birth. He's related to the Goswamis. They're his uncle. Was it Anupam? Was his father who died? Whether he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or not, but he may have been there. He may have met him in Ramkeli when Gauranga came and preached to Rupa Sanatan. He may have seen him at that time. There's not much reference of his life because then he was ordered to go to Vrindavan by Nityananda. First he went to Varanasi, and he studied under one Vachaspati for all the different philosophies. Very, very learned, and he was, must have been like a Shrutidhara, I guess, because he learned so much in such a short time, and he had all the appearance of the bodily features of a Mahapurusha, perfect shaped body and arms, hands down to his knees, and golden complexion. Then his father died. He became affected. He went to Vrindavan to join his uncles, Rupa Sanatan, and so he stayed with Krishnadas Kaviraj, etc. He had the temple of Radha Damodar, but he used to do he was like this secretarial work. He would write their copies of their books, Goswami's books. When he deputed those other devotees, Shamananda and Narottam, etc., to bring all the books over this side to be translated and distributed. He was very, very austere, very learned, and because he was young, he was quite young, and he was younger than all the others, so he lived a little longer, and he organized all the Sankirtan movement. He started to systemize all of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings that Rupa had written and Sanatana had written and others. Then he started to systemize everything and categorize everything. So he was like the leader of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and then he started organizing the preaching, and stuck in that temple at Radha Damodar he lived at. Once there's a story, because not much about him, because what are you doing? He's just studying, he's doing his bhajan, there's not much to write about, right? Not so many incidences. But once Digvijay came to challenge Rupa and Sanatan. They had a reputation, and he wanted to challenge them that, they said, "Oh, we're not scholars. We're not interested in scholarship. We've heard about you. We're no match for you. We can't debate with you. You're a great scholar." So he said, "Then you have to sign the patra that I have defeated you." That was the system. Very arrogant, so they didn't want to waste time with him. So, okay, where shall we sign? They signed the thing. Then he thought that Jiva Goswami was also getting a reputation now, and he'll be the next, he'll be the predecessor. So he thought he'll have to get Jiva's signature also. So then he told Jiva, "I just defeated your Sanatan and Rupa." They admitted defeat. They refused to debate with me, and they've signed this. So you can also sign. So he was very angry that he was upset that why, it's a duty of a disciple to protect the Guru. So he couldn't bear that he was insulted by a scholar. So he accepted the challenge on behalf of Rupa and Sanatana. And after some days, he soundly defeated this scholar. So then he was very happy that his Guru reputation hadn't been defamed. So then he went and told, he told the Rupa and Sanatana what happened. Rupa was very annoyed. He said, "What are you doing? Why are you debating with these mundane people? You're not fit to live in Vrindavan. Vrindavan's a place of retirement. You came here to renounce everything. What are you doing engaging in scholarship debates? That's not our business. That's not why we come to Vrindavan. You're not qualified to live here. You go and live." So then he went to Mathura somewhere. And he really took it to heart. It really hurt him. It banished him from Vrindavan. So he was heartbroken. And he was crying and lamenting, and he got really skinny. And some say he lived in a hole in the bank of the Jamuna, crocodile hole. Like a little cave in the side of on the bank of the Jamuna. Then actually one time Sanatana Goswami passed that way, and he was doing madhukari, so he called one, "Oh Mata, give some ruti, madhukari." And then he thought she didn't hear him, so then he called louder, "Mata, madhukari." And she came out and said, "Why are you so impatient? You're not like our Baba. He's very humble. He's not impatient like you." She said, "Who's that?" He said, So Sanatana went and saw him. He was really skinny and withered and crying. And he felt great compassion. So then he went back to Rupa Goswami. And he said, "Tell me, what are the Mahaprabhu's precepts, main precepts? I have a doubt about one of them. So you list them, and I'll tell you which one." So then he came to Jiva Daya, mercy on the Jivas. So yes, this one. He said, "Why aren't you following this one?" Said, "What are you talking about? Your Jiva, you've banished him. You have no mercy on him. And he's suffering like it." So then he relented and called him back. So then that was all about. Anyway, he's Prabhupada said he was such a great scholar. Such a great scholar. No one like him. So we have him to thank for helping systematically organizing the Bhakti Shastras. He taught a special way of Sanskrit which is still followed nowadays, using the names of Krishna to describe everything. So it's his disappearance today. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu ki. Srila Mahesh Pandit, Jagdish Pandit, Tirupati Mahasabha ki jai, jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Thai Gaur Premanandi, Hare Krishna.